enjoying blueberry and lemon crumble. It's yummy. Purple. Mm, mm, mm. Hallelujah. E.T., what time is it? Shall we call home? Because of my death threats. It's nearly 2 o'clock. Yep. Almost. So, hopefully to catch someone when I can. That I'm due to make a telephone call that is important. If I don't catch them, then I'll do it another day. Because they've attacked me unexpectedly and betrayed me. So I'll have to try and look at these authorities that are doing this. And see what God to help me betray the betrayers and destroy the destroyers. I think it's in either Isaiah or Jeremiah near chapter 30. That is the purpose of life, according to God's standards. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the reason why I have death threats. So it was all a setup for me to be put on a platform of so-called professionals, important professors, important lot who are educated, who have up-to-date education, up-to-date high-flying careers, and they've invaded me. Now, I had a normal account, normal password, everything was normal, and these bad cats made everything abnormal on Facebook and on YouTube. And they've set me up. They've put me on the path of the godless who don't fear God. So I have here some paper in a box, which is special designed paper that I have purchased to print photographs. So I had my own album, and it was cursed because I've had the local government, the government all over the place, authoritarian governments, looking at my photo album on Google. I have an option to print some books from Google, which I did. I was a customer, unknowing that purchasing photo albums from Google, I was actually targeted by very bad individuals who wanted to take ultimate control of my life and or to make use of me by using me to make money out of me as a slave, as these slave masters had targeted me. So I have a smaller here. I want people to imagine what it is like going into a Photoshop. There's the smaller papers, and here's the bigger one. And say I want a print of these photographs. I'm severely disabled. I want to have a photo album of my happy memories for my therapy. I was bedridden, and this is what my plan was, unaware of the fact that they were destroying my civil rights, destroying everything that was private and confidential. All my emails, everything had been destroyed by these so-called tyrants. Not allowed to call them tyrants, then I will call them oppressors, bullies. So yeah, this is the box I keep it in, it's an old sweet box. And the plan failed because someone had stolen that account. I didn't have access to it. I couldn't change the password to it. about 10 phones had been blacked out, including my laptop, and was targeted for abuse because of what I have said against my government, that have said that they have unlawfully taken my daughter from me. And because I've said that on my social media, that has nothing to do with them. They made a law or a policy to make everything to do with them. And I was betrayed by all these multi-billionaires' bad cats, fat cats. And I'd gone everywhere. I'd gone over to every side. They all betrayed me, particularly the women who were jealous and envious of me because I had all the attention of men. What are they doing in my hospital bed? What are they spying on me on my hospital bed and my photo albums and videos? And so the men wanted to get revenge because they lost their whores, because the whores didn't want to have sex with them anymore because they found out that they were spying on me. And so they wanted the revenge because when they found out that I was fat and, according to them, I'm ugly, they wanted to murder me because they're saying, oh, look at you, you're a nobody, and this is awful, this is... So this type of authoritarian austerity is worse than terrorism, because it's the very government I was relying on, the very thorn I was relying on, who is scattered across England. So it's not concentrated in Hertfordshire. It could be some other type of politician or authoritarian. And so they've made it against the law to say that a policeman, for example, could take on a case of someone from a different county or different area, but they can't access your information if they are based in another county or area. So they've changed all that. They keep chopping and changing it. 1 minute it's illegal, the next minute is not illegal. 1 minute is illegal, the next minute is not illegal. And it's very bad. And so I have not committed any crime or any abuse on anybody, on myself, anybody. So they did it to make money out of my suffering. And so that's why they wanted to prolong my suffering as a severely disabled person by denying me treatment, correct treatments, and denying me all this at the hospital, because they wanted to prolong my suffering. And I remember crying, thinking, oh God, I'm relying on these, and I don't want to rely on them because from them they have connections to very bad politicians or very bad professionals. And I was crying a lot, and then God took away my tears and said, you're not going to cry anymore. Whether I live or die, I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to grieve anymore. So they've taken over everything, including me suspecting that there is a corrupt police or corrupt military up in my loft spying on in my home. For about 2 or 3 years now, they were planning it. Or is it a recent year? I don't know. By the time I get my housing to investigate, the corrupt individual would disappear. So this is how I've been betrayed. The envy and jealousy, first of all, the men who were up there on top, alpha male, they want revenge because I said, no, I don't want to get involved. We're not compatible. We don't see eye to eye. You're not on the same page as the Holy Spirit. You're on my enemy's camp without telling me. What are you doing on my enemy's camp without telling me? We're not a team. So I said no to these men who are alpha male. And because I said no, they came closer to invade my privacy. When they came too close, they said, oh, you're ugly, you're fat and ugly. And I have a good reason to be fat and ugly. They wouldn't take that either. And so then it was the evil men, the toxic men, and the evil woman, their woman, or connected to them, that wanted revenge, and still do, because I was invaded. Curiosity kills the cat. Supposed to. But the cat has 9 lives. 9 lives, apparently. So they've turned my life upside down, these bad cats. So the austerity to say that they have the authority to either protect a wicked evil witch, who can be either colonialist, capitalist, or communist, or whatever, who hates me for no good reason. And she wants to replace me, so she would steal she's a spoilt brat. She would steal my information and say she's done it better than me. She would steal my clothing and say she's worn the clothing better than me. She would steal my children and say that she was a better parent than me. And so this evil witch of a woman it seems impossible to stop it. And if she was killed, it's too late. She's damaged my daughter so much through emotional abuse and torture of my daughter, through the education system, that my daughter's become exactly the same as her. So the damage is so gross tech, that it's actually it's such an evil parasite. She's saying to my daughter, I am you and you are me, which is the ultimate brainwashing or indoctrination through the tyrant. And I could end up in prison for saying tyrant. So they're protecting the criminal speech, and they're incriminating people who are not criminals for using appropriate language, because that's what they are. It's indoctrination. Against God, against your loving parents, against people who are poor, and all of this. So I was hoping to find someone that would replace my daughter, because I have had no children since, and that has been impossible. I was hoping to find someone who would replace my ex-husband and all toxic, abusive men, and that also has been impossible, because they're calling Putin a dog. He's not a dog. His personality disorder is of a cat. So they've made a big mistake there. Trump is also a cat type. Former President Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton in America is part of the cat personality. So I made this huge list of their personality disorders. It's my turn to look at them. Since they've looked at me on all my medical records without my permission, they get access to them as globalists anyway. They can have all my personal and private information, my emails, my videos, and everything, because they're globalists. So since they can do it, I believe by God I can do it too. In a decent way, in a civil way, with civility. But they've done it without being civilized and without being decent, in the sense of arrogance and aggression and austerity, this authoritarian type, which is a supremacist type. And it's no laughing matter, but I'm laughing and trying to make myself light-hearted, because my life has been destroyed and God is trying to build it through Jesus, and they're destroying it. It's because they're always ahead of us. However, God is ahead of them. And I rely on God more than any other human being. They've attacked me in every aspect of my life. How I should think, how I should behave, what I should believe, how I should talk, as if I am a little toddler, a little child, relying on step to step for them to tell me what to do. And I find this very distressing. I find this very devastating. and because I cannot stop it seems impossible to stop them. And if I try to stop them, I'm threatened by death. So there was me enjoying these. So these apps and these fun-loving pictures that can come on your face on Facebook, or that is particularly used, can be used by a jealous and envious witch who says, oh, I have a nicer nose than you, I have prettier eyes than you have no eyelashes, you have no boobs, and yet they're doing this to someone who is a hospital patient, severely disabled and paralyzed, so they're worse than terrorists. So if a man has just had surgery, of course his dick would be down, it wouldn't be erected. For a woman, likewise, she's not going to be excited when she's got physical chronic pain. So this is what they've done extra to make people who have just had major surgeries come out of hospital be despairing and feeling all alone, that a single sticker, a single emoji, it is designed, I was told, I think Twitter was the original designer, and they were the original migrants that did it, international people who designed these emojis and things. However, they're not the designer and those who have created these stickers are not, I don't think, are connected or sharing business with them, or are they sharing business with these major authorities that could use a sticker to test how you behave and think, for them to become the supremacist and for them to become the superior ones when they're not. Number one, you've invaded my privacy, you have no shame. Number two, you have boasted that you've done a better job than me, when in fact your bones were not broken, your ovary was not cut, and your stomach was not poisoned. So why are you boasting that you have stolen something from me when you haven't been suffering like I have? So you're not me, and you are a thief. So that's what they've done. They've pretended to be friendly, these wolves in sheep's clothing and bad cats. And so I had to motivate myself when I was at the death doors. Get up, sleep. If you cannot sleep, have some type of therapy. Because I'm not suicidal. I was exhausted emotionally and physically, and was searching for support and a community that would understand and not have unfair competition and unfair challenge. And they insisted I am you or you are me. They insisted that I had to sleep, collapsed on my bed, paralysed in chronic pain, going over these hot coals, or sleeping on hot coals, walking on hot coals. A hazardous journey every time I use social media. Not so much because of the terrorist, but because they were turning my home and my social media into politics. And I made it very absolutely clear that it was my social platform, absolutely clear that it was not being politically active. As an activist, I was being a type of a student, learning, using it for therapy and pain relief, and using it for education. I've already said that. Using it not to spy on people. And so the more I've said to try and justify myself, the worse they attacked. And so this piece of equipment, which is a mobile phone or any internet, can be used for good or evil. It could be used as a tool, or it could be used as a weapon. So they've deliberately weaponized my tools and wanted to find a way, or implemented new policies, new rules, new laws to find a way to incriminating me for misusing my social media platform or misusing my tools. And so, of course, this is because of capitalism and colonialism and political correctness and censoring. all of this was during the pandemic when everybody else was using it, who were in big families, in big businesses. They were not targeted. It is the various corrupt authorities, politicians, and professionals who had a problem through envy and jealousy that said I didn't deserve to be happy and targeted me by spying, cyberbullying, stalking, saying that I have to compare to virgins, or virgins had to compare to me, and find a way to demoralize me with sticks and stones. No, I said I'm not a nun. I don't want to get involved with monks. I would like to find a suitable partner to settle down with, but I don't think I have a future now because I have had too many sexual offenders, even in my neighborhood, or those who I have acquainted to, since my girlhood, have attacked me with sexual assaults. So connected to my old neighborhood and my new neighborhood. So I did pray for guidance and protection, to say, God, I cannot stop them. They've surprised me with unpleasant surprises that would reveal their anger, taken out on me through an evil type of poisonous gift. So when you're loved, you open a healthy, loving gift. When you're hated, you open a gift that is a hateful gift. So it's the same principle of deceiving orphans and outcasts with sweets, only to put them in a cage, or follow the crumbs to find your way out of the place where you are lost, to end up inside a cage or a trap. So the very rats who knew and believed that I wanted to trap them, because they had advanced equipment, they were able to trap me instead. So it's an unfair challenge and competition. Their approach, their capital, their perfection orientation is not based on love, it's based on fame and fortune. Whereas my perfection is based on being faithful to God, and God's honor for me and my honor for God. That is faithfulness. So they have that false light, which is devilish, based on fame and fortune. And since I've made myself different and said I'm more beautiful than you, I have true light, you're a rubbish Illuminati shite. And I said you're a rubbish Illuminati shite because you live for money, fortune and fame. They didn't like that, so they wanted to retaliate and revenge. Then I have turned around and said, you're a fearmonger, you're a warmonger, I'm not a people pleaser, I'm not a robber, I'm not a rapist, and no, I'm not you. I'm not interested in your evil sex. Even if I was watching someone who was having sex, because they forced themselves on my phone, I then blocked them. I had emails of people having sex. I had to block them and delete all my emails. It's criminal behaviour. It's a gangster government. And I'm saying, no, I'm not interested in you labelling my breasts as sugar tits. I don't want to be shocked and shaken about your stupid evil sex, no matter how many advanced positions you have. So I continued in my mind and my thoughts, saying that they're forcing intrusive thoughts in my mind. And I said, well, I'm educating myself here. I'm not wasting my time. I've got plenty of time, but I'm not wasting my time. So I've instinctively, by my instinct and intuition, said, I'm not you. I don't respect you. I don't like you. I don't get excited by you. So in my mind, I humbled myself before God and said, God, look how I'm being bullied. I don't want arranged marriage for a material possession. I don't want to have a man threaten me to be his partner or spouse because of being forced to be together. We want to be together because of truth that ultimately sets us free from the institutional racism. And so God reminded me not to be afraid and to fear God more than humans, what they're doing. Because it is evil oppression to say, oh, they're constantly boasting, and I'm saying, reminding myself, there's no one that can boast. There is no one that is good. Only God can make a human being good. And so that's what I'm explaining about God's presence. That even at the loneliest time when I'm alone, God was with me. And took away that loneliness, took away my awareness of the fact that I was independent and alone, nursing myself back to health. I mean, I had an occasional visitor, but again, they're formal visitors. They're not. So, as far as I'm concerned, regarding Christmas, I've been alone 10 Christmases now. I've tried to invite myself. I've tried to explain my situation. I was spoon-fed, very sick, and in a wheelchair, unable to walk, unable to sit. And so they begrudged me the fact that I was ill. I was getting attention. But this is not positive attention, it's negative attention. And even with negative attention, they were jealous and envious of that. So I was attacked by men and women as a result. And it wasn't my fault. So I've discovered somebody else had dismantled my lock, my password, my pattern, my facial recognition, what's it called? Cat copying, catfished or something like that. And even my advanced hidden my location with VPN. I've had American and all types of foreign governments get involved over my VPN protection. So I'm paying for someone to abuse their professional power from other countries, foreign governments. And so I had to learn the hard way. I had to use my vision, not for imagination, but as evidence. I had to take a screenshot, and every time I took a screenshot, it attacked me more viciously. Through finding a way to incriminating me, saying, oh, the poor people cannot take screenshots. The working class people can. So the unemployed can't, the employed can. Where's the law for that? Are you going to make a stupid law to say that? Because I don't know anybody more stupid to make a law such as that. So it's one law for the rich and another law for the poor, which is out of order. And it's also it's a territorial spirit, which is extreme nastiness and invasive spirit. Obviously, it's not their territory, it's not their phone, but they are so self-entitled because of their politics or because of their authoritarian professional title that they're saying that everything that I own and possess is not mine because I'm unemployed. Who made that law? They're saying I cannot have peace unless I have war and fight. Who said that? So I haven't joined on to their crimes, and I have not joined on to their war agenda. Never agreed with it. So as far as I was concerned, in the dialogue and discussion about human rights abuses, someone who is severely sick, in a wheelchair, unable to walk or sit, or spoon feed themselves without very little support, that's not the sort of person that would get involved in war or news that's being created, or what the celebrities are doing in their private lives. That's not right. It's not suitable for me. So when I was using music, for example, to help me relax, behind that music or behind that channel I have been subscribed to, there was the authoritarian who is worse than a terrorist. Why are you using this app? Or why are you listening to this music? This piece of music here is not for you. I've had sex with this piece of music in the background. I corrupted this piece of music because I've made a signature on it. And so this is how mad they are. They're totally insane. So similar to a pope or priestess that has gone to I'm gonna go and have sex in a shower to sanctify my shower room. So because I've had sex with my partner, now this room is sanctified. What the hell? God laughs at the enemy. God laughs at this mental, insane 666 mark of the beast. This evil whale that gets to sprinkle her sex fluid and her sex water everywhere as an evil masturbating woman or men, that get to dominate through music and their sexual activity through music, through film, and through politics. She opens her legs and says, well, I get to tell a politician what to do because I've opened my legs and had sex with this politician, or because that politician has paid me and my pornography channel lots of money to watch me have sex, so therefore I get to tell the politician what to say, not you, no matter how pure and snow white you are. Again, they're mad. When did I want to tell the politician what to do? Never. When did I tell a politician to come and sleep with me in my bed, or the government to sleep in my bed? Never. So this is how they've imposed these crimes and these perversions on me, simply for using social media and my phone or laptop. So they've uncovered me when I wanted my cover. But God gave me an invisible clothing, so even though if they had seen me naked, without me even knowing, invading me while I was sleeping, God had a secret cover on me, a secret bit of clothing on me, if I lie down again or sit up. Because the reason why they wanted to uncover me is to compare me to whores. Their sex partners for the politicians, for the governors, particularly evil men. And God has seen that vision, I think, in Ezekiel, how he had to look through a hole of how they were worshipping animals and worshipping humans. They were all worshipping human beings to sort of save them. And I was saying, no, I'm studying them. I'm not looking out for anyone to save me. I'm looking out to study what their motive is and what they do to make a corruption. When I realized that, I gave my prayer to God. The angels took it in the bowls. There's spiritual bowls in heaven. Yes, I've got a bowl haircut. And they say that when the bowls are outpoured from the tipping end, God's anger is going to be unleashed against them. Because you can never say no to them. You can never count 1 to 3 and put them on a naughty step. As undisciplined children, they never seem to be disciplined. So this is why we're heading towards World War III, to make such a disaster that we're going back to the Stone Ages as a result of Jacob's curse versus Esau's curse. Cain versus Abel. I'm saying, speak for yourself. And so the very thing that they have accused me of was projecting reverse psychology. It was their problem. So I wanted to make a video particularly on as to what the death threats is regarding. And so I first of all wanted to see what they're like before we investigate who they are, because they popped onto my channel. I didn't find them, they found me. For psychiatry, for a psychologist, and for any other therapeutic title on YouTube or Facebook, unaware of the fact that they are antichrist or hostile. This is out of order. So when I did investigate, who are they, what are they, where do they come from, they've already broken that bridge or damaged that bridge of peacemaking because they didn't even make an effort to delete the offensive information from history, how they have historically made videos that would add insult to injury, or anyone who is so-called a victim would automatically be put in suicidal categories. So they didn't have any difficulty in deleting these videos, but they have chosen not to. So I'm convinced that they are wolves in sheep's clothing, or angels as angels, beautiful angels disguised. It's a disguised beauty, when in fact, when you remove that disguised mask of a beautiful angel, you find the devil in it. That has been unknown to me. I have read that Bible and verse warning, however, I have not studied it before. I have not identified it before. And so I had to, again, learn the hard way by saying, oh, here we go. This is it. This is the example of someone doing that. Misleading the most vulnerable, and cheating people, of the humblest people, are being cheated of justice. And so I had to learn from the very beginning. But it was intentionally and deliberately done to sort of pick a fight with the weakest of society. No, I'm saying pick a fight with somebody your own size, you fool. That's what made me angry. Why do they have to pick a fight in people who are so frail or fragile and don't have that defense system? So they find out who doesn't have the defense system, such as a large family, lots of money in the bank, lots of opportunity to work, lots of medication to quickly recover, lots of options for lots of lovers who are loyal to you through a romantic relationship. Doesn't have to be sexual. And so I didn't have that. None of that. Oh, my battery's run out, so I've got to put this on. So as a result of making myself different, they didn't like that. I have to go back into the wilderness, into the desert, where there is famine, drought, or freezing cold place, as a result of not the very ones who have supposed to have encouraged me through music therapy or any other therapy of a counselling, psychologist, psychiatrist, bereavement counselling, or anything like that, are the very ones who are making wishes for me to commit suicide, or sending off signals to have safeguarding officers and saying that I need protection, when in fact it's the other way around. I need protection from them. So these authoritarian, again, austerity through safeguarding is in fact more dangerous than the actual criminal, because it mimics crime, because it impersonates someone who is extremely dangerous projected onto someone who is fragile or weak. And so they're forcing that curse on you. And the other situation of the currency, this is the other main reason for war, is who's going to dominate the money situation, and how inflation affects the country, or what is precious and what isn't precious. So they're looking to have their privatize everything, so they can have a new type of competition where they are picking on someone who is their size, or exceptionally strong. So they want to do Agenda 21 and design this. I didn't set my alarm clock, it's nearly 2:30. So I do need to make an important telephone call. And so the modern clothing, who is not wearing modern clothing is also targeted. Everything to do with the modern government. And this is what I'm learning, that yes, I have acknowledged how dangerous both of them are, the modern and the traditional governments. But the worst aspect of a modern government is that no one wants to be accountable. They're all passing the buck to someone else. I'm not responsible. And so that's the problem with the modern government. As regarding to the traditional government, they have said, been there and done that, and I'm in control of what happens when it comes to either domestic terrorism or any other type of terrorizing, to be in control of business and things like that. And so I have become increasingly aware and sort of like frozen in time and space, being overtaken by those who want to abuse power. Many of them. So even if Virgin Mary was saying, I'm alive in the spirit body, and she came from heaven in the sky and waved to me, and I saw a ghost, or I saw her ghost, or I saw Saint Michael, the angel in the sky, and said, hi. And I saw a host of many angels singing in heaven. Even I would be encouraged, but I would know that I'm still having death threats, forced to be punished for others' guilt, and they're the most sensitive because they know they're guilty, and that's another reason why they want to do death threats to me. So the main cause of a death threat, what is the main cause of a death? Through political correctness, of them knowing that they're guilty and wanting to hurt you because they're hurt for feeling guilty. And are they motorists on a motorcycle? So they want to be guarded to protect the white race as soldiers, and there's also soldiers that want to protect the black race. And so the missionaries are stuck in between for Jesus Christ. And this is why God says, do not love the world. But what it means by the world is this materialistic fame and fortune, which is a holy war against them. I had my pudding, lemon and blueberry. So they're the three markers of death threats. Invade, to cause them to feel guilty, to give them an excuse and a reason why they hate me, because I've made them feel guilty. Insult. And number 3, divide all my family and friends, make me lost, make me live at the edge of my existence. These are the 3 strategies that Nazis use, or any other soldiers use, as in the case of the Blair Witch Project, how these murderous young adolescents in their 20s to 30s were going around making a prank when actually they had a cult of murder. And even after they were investigated in America, they realized that these same tactics were used for the soldiers and the police who did the interrogation. They're actually mimicking murderers, and so to be in control. So how can they be advocates of peace, being peacemakers and protectors against violent and aggressive and arrogant, when they themselves are mimicking these aggressive, violent and arrogant violent aggressions and arrogance onto mob attackers, violations and vandalisms? That's what it is, and they can't point their finger at a certain race because it is mixed. That's why it is called Britain, because it is mixed. And so when we have politicians who are pointing their finger at one certain race, we know it is the influence of the multi-billionaire or someone who is a top-ranking authoritarian. What do we call them? And so I have to pretend to be stupid, and I have to pretend to be autistic, or I have to actually be that for the fact that they've tortured and tormented me for 20 years plus, surrounded by strong-looking masculine men who are either gay, guarding their supreme white race, which is a load of nonsense, wearing their foil hats. So to me, this is alien. This is not human. And if I had had wings, I could then fly. I didn't have to have a car or a vehicle. But since I don't have wings, I cannot fly, and therefore, or even struggle to do my own shoelaces. I've managed to cut my toenails with difficulty. But God helps us to bow down and to outstretch our arms to support people who are suffering, who are not criminals. I'm not talking about those suffering who are criminals. I'm talking about those who are suffering who are not criminals. But those who are criminals that should have never been incriminated, they need a different type of support, which is more insightful, more detailed, because of the quarrels and the questions that they were either forced to answer that they should have never answered. Since they answered the questions, that is what was thrilling and horrible, and put many people in prison that shouldn't have been in prison, or mental health institutions. So it's more complicated as a result. Again, also the children's centres are being closed down. Children minders and child minders are too expensive. Can you trust them visiting you at home? Can you trust any professionals dealing with them because of the death threats to say, oh, you're going to die? Someone has made their mind up, who is an authority, that you're going to die. If you look out the window and you can see somebody outside your window, or parked a car in a park place. And so God has sent angels to help us who do have wings, and also use social media to help us to find a Christian organization that is not political, and I find it impossible to find one. Nearly 99% out of 100% Christians are political. I'm much happier knowing that God is there to protect me in a life-death situation, and God has a special gift for me without any anger or attack within the gift. So in the case of another thing that's coming to England is assisted suicide. If you have too much pain and suffering for too long, they would assume that you want to end your life, which was illegal in England, and now they've made it legal. If someone has tuberculosis, leukemia, or any other long-term illness, they will have to be acting as though they're happy all the time, but they're not really happy. That's not me. I am who I am. I'm not doing any acting skills unless I myself wanted to spy on someone. Then I would do some acting skills, but it depends what type of acting skills in dangerous situations. Generally, I think it can be very useful to have an acting skill. But I haven't actually spied on anybody. That they didn't already know that I was spying on them, because they already knew I was spying on them, or I was stalking them on social media as a type of a troll, because they didn't like me. I wanted to find out why they didn't like me. When I found out, I then stopped trolling. As the example of my type of spying. Compared to their advanced spying, it breaks all the rules. So they make rules and policies and principles only to break them. Because they have weapons. Now, if I did have a weapon, however, then I would turn nasty, and I would definitely be a criminal and wouldn't give a shit. I'm saying that blatantly. If I was rich, if I had a weapon, I would want to kill someone and get away with it, and do exactly the same thing as Donald Trump had done. Purchase my own judge and make myself immune from crime. Because I didn't want to go to prison. I would do exactly the same as President Donald Trump. Be above the law in order to kill all my enemies. But I thank God I am not President Donald Trump, and I am not rich, and I am not with any weapon. But I would quickly become a criminal if I was rich and had weapons. God is my witness. Does that make me a false Christian? No, because God, first of all, would make me immune from crime, and my rich bank would make me, second of all, immune from crime. Because of the situation of being oppressed by the same enemy for more than 20 years. 20. So if I maybe had a meeting with somebody with a glass of orange juice, I would quickly want to get rid of those who are bullying me. Not because I'm bloodthirsty, but because I want my life back. That they've demonized me all these years and destroyed all my possibilities and all my healthy, holy opportunity versus their unhealthy, evil opportunists. And so that's how I close my video. Because also I want to find out what countries are studying and protecting human rights laws, such as in Norway, in Sweden, in England, not really. In Asia, what countries are doing this protection? It's fascinating to me, it's inspiring to me. However, I know the headquarters of human rights is God and all the holy angels who are in heaven and do come to earth, not only as messengers but as protectors. So all the rumours, the gossipers, all the authoritarian and austerity, political correctness, institutional racism, oppressive legislators are impatient. They don't have patience of a saint. Yet I have patience of the saint, and I still have injustice. In the sense that I didn't ever get what I wanted. No family, no friends, no home, no privacy. So I never got no education, no progress in my career. I never got what I wanted. However, I have taken refuge and rescue in God's care. To say, God, you've taken my anger from me. God, you have done what I couldn't do. God, you have encouraged me to get out of hell, to get out of death situations. And it's similar to all the soldiers being burnt to the ground. By very fearful, hostile neighbours, or work associate, or someone even in your own family. But there is a commotion everywhere because of hostility, and this country no longer being a religious country, it is a political country. And they are blaming religion for wars when in fact it is politics and man's ego that should be blamed. Since 7th of October 2023, the war in Gaza and the war in Ukraine versus Russia. And there is no one that can interpret what this means unless they themselves are involved and are on the front lines having conversations with them. So I have looked at both sides. One side is more arrogant and aggressive for no reason other than an ego, and the other side has a reason for their grievance. They have a good reason for it, so they've separated for that. And the light will shine in the darkness. In my closing this video, God forbid we have World War III sooner rather than later, which is vicious, volatile, and no one wins. Then nobody's victorious in war. We're all injured as a result. There are many religions that have different denominations, and even Martin Luther, who lived from 1483 to 1546, he had a theology. He was also wrestling between those who would attack him because he hurt their ego. And he lost his life as a result by the very merciless who had no pity. And they are idiots. They have a legendary for being idiots. So having that self-awareness is great, but it's not so great when you create a presentation of systemic abuse. You don't even have to be professional to create a presentation of systemic abuse. You can be casual and create a presentation unapproachable, hostile, antisocial, systemic abuser. And extensive to the point that they would be stubborn and rebellious to say God does not exist, God is not here, God is not here for good influence, God is a bad influence. And they were officially teaching this without any shame, actually renowned for being an antichrist or for being a criminal without any good reason. So I would have a good reason why I'm incriminated if I was to have a weapon and shoot my burglar. They would want to put me in prison for self-defense and incriminate me. So I have a good reason. But these that would come and kill you for the fun of it are stupid dolphins and idiots. So dolphins are even more dangerous than sharks. So dolphins to me, who have an extra big brain, are symbolic to the white supremacist and the black supremacist. The sharks, on the other hand, are the opposite of the white or black supremacist. And that is because they are adulterous and they are murderesses. But they're also very hard, tough, bosses. And so they will not work for pence or pennies or penalise them. So that's the case for sharks. And they're also, I wouldn't call them whites, because they're not true whites, they're mainly half caste. And they're the opposite of the white and black supremacy and imperialism. They would be the opposite of that. They would want to invoke extreme nationalism as a result of being invaded, deceived, betrayed, and destroyed, for being international globalist. So this is how the agenda for globalist leader is going to fail, and they will then turn this around and say no, it's going to be extreme nationalists. We're going back to square one if we're going to have World War III, because it just doesn't work. They have different cultures, they have different cultures and different type of minds. The way they think is not the same. Even if they had translators to speak the same language, you have to think about the fact that they don't behave the same as you, they don't think the same as you. So that's the whole aspect of a foreigner. When are you no longer a foreigner? I'm speaking the English language, I've learned the English cultures, and I had to adjust my behaviour the way they behave, so that you wouldn't think that I'm a migrant living in England, that you would think I'm English. And so their routines, the way they think, but the problem is these bad cats don't want me to think this. They don't want me to have the same commonality. Once they find out that in fact I'm a migrant, migrated since childhood. So it's called institutional racism. As for the bad dogs, them on the other hand, discover that whatever they have been teaching or preaching is not the same what they believe in, and they've been proven wrong. So they want revenge, or they want to put you in prison, or they want to do something to change and rearrange you because they've been proven wrong by me or by you, which is an old type of traditionalism versus the dogs and the wolves versus the modern government, which is as the cats. They're fighting as cats and dogs. And this is the buzz. This is the continual buzz. I remember putting a duvet cover and a blanket over my head, and a fly came through the window and it landed on me. It started buzzing, or a wasp, or a bee, and that buzz is so loud, as a resemblance of the hot subject, the subject that never seems to stop, especially when it comes to money, fame, and fortune, and celebrities. So I did not need a crystal ball to know this. So the Holy Spirit is a witness in here for me. What to expect? It's a visionary. It's also a testimony, and it's also looking at who's making a judgment, error of judgment, and who's living a privileged life in the wrong sense, not in the right sense. And in closing, the conclusion of those that want to execute, or the executors of doing God's will. In nature and in every role, as a role model, compared to the others who are elders, employed, bosses, experts, professionals that are doing the opposite of doing God's will. Once they are targeted, put in prison, scrutinized, I would then be safer in my society. But the problem is that they pack their suitcases and take their passports and leave the country after they've made a huge corruption in the local country. So the meaning of life, I've talked about it, touched on it. Also the death threats and the resurrection of Jesus. So my country, which is former Yugoslavia, Montenegro, Macedonia, is Greek Orthodox a Protestant? I don't think so. Again, are they inspired by God, or are these false religious individuals looking at authority and how they could change and rearrange things by their opinions and authority, which is the wrong thing to do? It's similar to a twin or a look-alike. I look like Michael Jackson, or I look like Madonna, so therefore I have entitlement to live the same life because of looking like someone. That is morally incorrect. Looks has nothing to do with it. To have someone obsess and possess about someone else in a number that cannot be counted. So in the end, they should be the ones who commit suicide, because they're the ones who are stealing that attention, stealing that information for their own advantage. So the fact that Jesus resurrected from the dead and all these curses and condemnations put on him, if he is God, he will get himself off of the cross, and Jesus got off of the cross. Jesus' prophecy was fulfilled that none of his bones were broken 5,000 years before he died as the Messiah. The soldiers could have broken his bones. Instead, they pierced him in the side to check that he was dead. The corpse came off of the cross. The dead corpse went into a cave-type tomb, and the dead corpse resurrected from the dead. So death could not hold God, Jesus, and devil could not hold Jesus. But this is helpful and hopeful positivity. I put my hope in God. And in closing, regarding his resurrection, it's not only about executing in the name of the devil, it is there executing in the name of God, doing God's will, God's bidding, and God being in between good and evil too. Somewhere in the Bible it says that God was walking in the center of the garden while all these evil pigs and animal cursed are walking on his left side and on his right side, as he appeared in the Spirit in the Old Testament before Jesus came to the New Testament 5,000 years after that vision. It's very interesting what angels do, and very interesting what heaven does, that we're mainly unaware of the facts. I'm making public awareness. I'm not making political activism. And also, not only am I ministering to people, peoples from every type of background, rich, poor, healthy or sick, I like to minister to the fact that Jesus is to everybody, to know that he is my saviour when there was no one else to help me, no one else to influence me and give me positive thinking. Sooner or later, the very encouragement had a curse behind it. So all their encouragement meant nothing when it's based on money, fame and fortune. Compared to God's encouragement, it means everything. God's influence is holy. God's encouragement is good, not bad. God's intentions and the ministering spirit in God's ministry through the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit. So it's for everybody's assistance, not for assisted suicide, rather the assistance to know that we're children of God. On the milk of God's word, basic encouragement, basic practical support or emotional support, indicated on those who are humble. So we have a celebration in heaven when one sinner is humbled. God responding to the angels and the ministers of God's servants and saints. It can be so powerful, but not alarming. Powerful that even angels celebrate for someone who was bad that became good and wanted to remain doing good works. That's cool. It's not cool. It's chilling, freezing cold when you have death threats. Your body stops working and you feel cold, you feel dark, and you feel like you're never going to come back to life. You'll never see the sunlight again. And then Jesus comes and has the key to the gates of hell and the gates of heaven. So talking to people about these matters in closing is touching them. So talking to somebody based on truth is a way of touching them through a positive reality rather than constantly having this viral negativity in our society of false gods, of bad representations. And of course I do like to mirror God's glory, but God is greater than me. He can elevate people out of the darkest situation and when you're down in the dumps. So it's now 3 o'clock. I am being attacked all left, right and centre. To be afraid, to have fear of these demons who are causing me harm and suffering. Even in their business logos. I won't mention, but I just remembered one or two. I'm closing as MaiyaMaria and my new name is Mima. On my van, so I have like a car or a van or an aeroplane using my internet.